Welcome back. So non-governmental organizations are pleading with Parliament to rethink amendments to the Immigration Act. The groups are calling for the plight of vulnerable people like women, trafficked people and children to be considered. We are joined by the Diaspora Global Network's Dr. Vusumuzi Sibanda to give us more of their perspective on this. I want to actually in a moment, Dr. Sibanda, get into really what the immigration amendment bill has said, but so many submissions that have been made on the bill, wondering if your organization is one of those and what the submission really is.
Good evening and thank you very much for the invite. Well, look, yes, we've made submissions and there is a lot of submissions because there is a crisis insofar as, you know, the people that are perceived to be in the country either illegally or just suspected to be legal in the country are treated. Because, you know, if you are found with a passport, you know, a police officer can just stop you and say, well, we're going to detain you over the weekend until Home Affairs is obviously going to verify you on a Monday. And you go to court, you're given 7 more days for Home Affairs to verify you while you are legitimately in the country. And that takes away about at least, you know, over 1.5 weeks while you're incarcerated when you're either a visitor in the country or you're a person that is legitimately in the country and cannot go to work simply because of the verification process. So, yeah, there's been a serious outcry there.
Yeah. So talk to me about what the alternative then is when you put it on the table. Because if authorities, I am questioned around my status in the country and then I am incarcerated and I need to wait days for authorities to authenticate my identity. I mean, that is one thing. In fact, what you've got is you've got reaction already from Professor Thuli Madonsela, who said, well, this doesn't just impact foreign nationals, it impacts everybody. Very
true. Look, for example, like what you're saying, that not only those that are perceived to be even illegal, but the situation is such that, you know, you've got people that are legitimately in the country, that have got families, you know, that once they are incarcerated, it means their families are under a lot of anxiety and stress, and they are not provided for. They are worried about the conditions, you know, that their loved one finds themselves in because of how they are treated, because of the perception that they could be unlawfully in the country. So what is basically happening is that, and to make matters worse, we've got a judgment in the form of Rahima versus Minister of Home Affairs. It's almost over a decade on, which basically prohibited, you know, the detention of people that are arrested for immigration-related cases and that they be kept in the same facilities with hardened criminals like murderers and all those people that do that. But still, because, you know, the immigration offense, the Section 49 for illegal immigration is regarded as an offense in terms of the Criminal Procedure Act. It means that once a person is convicted of being an illegal foreigner or to be in the country unlawfully, then that person, you know, is then also put in the same, you know, prisons where they are hardened criminals. So there is, the manner in which the whole process is dealt with, it is dealt with in such a way that it does not, you know, get to a point where it treats differently immigration cases from those that are hardcore criminal cases.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about now vulnerable groups that, you know, need to be focused on, and what you think an exemption certainly could look like and for which groups. You know, of course, people have talked about children, for instance, as well.
Yes, true. I mean, we've looked at, when you look at the issue of children, children don't take themselves, you know, of course, to any country. It is the choice of their parents and they just follow the parents because they're taken there. And obviously, the one thing that is good is that in many cases, when it is brought to their attention, some cases we deal with it, it is dealt with. But, you know, you find that if somebody is 17 or even, you know, below 18, ordinarily, they will release them. But first, that person will have been detained already in any event. So the issue of children is another special case, but we've got the issue of asylum seekers, because in terms of the, you know, 1951 Convention on Refugees, you will notice that asylum seekers come into the country without real knowing what processes need to be followed in order for them to apply for asylum. And they may stay for some time without actually, you know, having access, you know, to the refugee center. As you would know, the problems that we have with the Desmond Tutu, the Cape Town refugee center, are such that, you know, people have even died. In August last year, were people dying because of the queues. And it takes a long period of time before somebody gets assisted. So you can imagine people that are already fleeing countries like the Democratic Republic of Congo, people fleeing the unrest that we had in Mozambique, people fleeing Sudan and all that. And they are trying to get to safety. And the next thing that they find themselves in the country where they think they would be safe is to be thrown in a prison where they are hardened criminals, the recidivists that are in and out and that will, torture and do all sorts of people that need to be protected. But beyond that, you also look at ordinary visitors, people that come into South Africa, just to visit. Some come to buy, groceries and clothes, and they get bundled up and arrested when they were visiting. They are tourists, business tourists. So it's a whole spectrum of, people that are regarded as immigrants that should be treated, properly, and treated and as innocent up until they are proven to be guilty of any offense of being illegal in the country.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be interesting. Of course, it's an ongoing discussion. We know that COSATU is also going to be presenting their submission on the Immigration Amendment Bill to Parliament. That's going to be tomorrow. And so as these submissions continue to come in, we will, of course, be following up on it. And we appreciate your time, Dr. Sibanda. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Dr. Vusumuzi Sibanda there of the African Diaspora Global